Okay, we'll call the airport commission meeting to order December, no, that's wrong. January 17th, 2024, 6:30 PM at the Comm Town Hall. Certification of compliance with open meetings law, it was posted on the board and the website. Well, I guess I'm gonna run the meeting tonight.
You can run it until we make you not run it.
Okay, there you go. So, roll call, Sauter here.
Radecki is here. Bori present.
Mitchell here.
Sheldon's not here.
Cal had a situation that you should be aware of. He actually took a day's vacation to be able to make sure he was here tonight, and he got called into work. Okay, because every so often they got to go through some certifications, I guess. And tonight was the night that they picked that Cal had to do night landings. And he couldn't blow them off because I guess that kerosene burner that he flies costs about 10 grand an hour to fly.
Wow.
So,
They just land here and then just show up.
yeah, well, you get the job of towing that thing out of the snowbank in the field.
Okay, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approve the minutes of the November 12th, 2023 Airport Commission.
I'll make a motion to approve them. December 6th meeting, right?
Well, it says,
That's what this one says, December 6th.
Yeah, that's right, December 6th.
I'll make sure. It says November 12th, I don't remember that one.
yeah, it says November 12th.
Just a minute, on the agenda for today?
Yeah, that's incorrect, November 12th.
We didn't do that one.
I was gonna approve these.
Let's just make a note, we'll change.
We'll table that till next meeting.
All right.
Okay, we're tabling the approval of the December 6th. Meeting till next.
Well, you can keep your copies then.
Good.
Correspondence. Any correspondence? Okay,
Yeah, actually, yes. I received a letter from Vendor Larson, Chidley and Cops, is that how you say it?
Okay.
This was dated December 5th, 2023, addressed to me. And it says, regarding collection of documents from Dave Hefkin. It says, Dear Lou, I write at the request of Frank Sauter in his capacity as an indirect member of the Palmyra Airport Commission. Frank is concerned that the Airport Commission preserve any and all documents, paper or electronic, that are public records that may be in the possession of Dave Hefkin. Having recently been involved in lengthy open records response involving my client, the town of Palmyra, I can assure you that there is legitimate purpose behind taking these steps, as it may prove more difficult to obtain this information from Mr. Hefkin in the future. Therefore, I am requesting that in your capacity as the Secretary of the Airport Commission that you take all necessary steps to preserve documents, paper or electronic, that are in the possession of Dave Hefkin. Please contact me with any questions that you may have in this regard. Very truly yours, Al Larson.
What was the date on that?
December
5th.
Okay.
You can look at it. I did not make copies.
So, it's not an open records request, it's a retention request. All of us on this board are supposed to keep our emails for 7 years, state statute. Anything to do with this airport. That's why, I have my Aflac emails, I have my town email. When I'm done with the town, all that's gotta be downloaded and there's gotta be a custodian, am I saying this right, a custodian of those records. I have to put on thumb drive, that type of thing, anything that I've done.
Who do those go to for retention, Frank?
Well, that's a good question, we haven't,
I would imagine that goes to the clerk.
Okay.
guys.
hi, come on, come right up.
How you doing?
Well, no, it wouldn't be the town clerk, we gotta go past that, we're gonna have to, probably the attorney's office, right off the top of my head, I'm gonna say that.
Really? Are you?
Well,
Okay.
it's gonna have to be someplace in safety, whether it be a safety deposit box or something. So it was not an open records request, it's a
Right, it's
retention
Yeah.
thing. Nobody's asking for any information, unless somebody does an open records request. Having said that, I didn't want, when I started the town job, I didn't want anything attached to my Aflac email. because-
Sure.
So, and all of a sudden the
That's all
town,
separate.
yeah, so she think about doing that. That's what the whole letter is actually about. I called, as soon as he resigned, I called Al and, we talked to Al, the town attorney, a little bit, and I said, well, he's working on things, we have problems at the airport right now, somebody needs to know what's going on. I said, somebody should reach out, well, why didn't you let me handle that, Frank, I'll take care of it. That's how that whole thing came about.
Sure.
And I never heard nothing until I heard about this letter here, but it's not an open records request, but by law, all records have to be retained. Just like, didn't we talk about the airport manager's gonna, keep records on
The checks and stuff.
for 7 years?
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna do the same thing, so we
So
can
have we
need,
done that in the past with any other commissioners on the board?
I'll say it this way, they probably weren't aware of what it is, but people are making open records requests and they can do that, and you gotta be ready to go with it.
So are we gonna make the same request of Chris Layford then?
He should, yeah, you're right, when you say that,
Yeah.
you should probably reach out to him and talk to him about that. You decide to-
Aye.
So, you gotta get out of here at 7?
No,
You
Oh,
sure?
there's that.
I'm set.
Oh, good.
Well, welcome.
Well, thanks.
You got to be early. Oh, true.
Well, long story short, the taxiways I still we won't do our night landings until Saturday or Sunday.
Oh.
Thank God for the good weather. Okay, moving on, anything else? From you? Okay,
Nothing more.
I got an email yesterday from our insurance agent. Rural Insurance is the town's insurance carrier, advising us that at 4/11/24 that we're gonna be terminated. They feel, and all of you, I believe, received a copy of this, that, now why they didn't do this the first time, just not take us, but they feel that obviously with what's happened out here at the airport with the dig and so on and so forth, that there's more liability, and apparently we don't want to be attached to it.
There is a slight thing there that I'd like to point out. It's not, they're not terminating, they're not gonna let us renew.
Renew, yeah.
And there's a difference, so they're not cutting us off, they're just saying, nah, when it comes time for renewal, we don't do airports. Which,
So is it the airports or is it the basins that have been created?
well,
Or did they give you a reason, or is it
Well,
just determination?
He was out here and took a look at what occurred out here. And I've said this at, I think, the town meeting, he was very concerned with the deep ditches and so on and so forth. Somebody, he said to me, he says, Frank, when you were a little boy, what'd you do? You played in the mud. Somebody gets over here, a couple little kids, down they go, especially on the deep end of this ditch. They can't get out. Having said that, do you think a 5-year-old kid could get out of that ditch down by that hangar in the corner back around there if they went down that hole right now and slid down there? No way could they possibly get out.
But there's basins all over the place in many properties.
I agree with
It's
that.
not just ours.
Do you know what happened in Sun Prairie 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that was a water retention pond that 2 kids, was it 2?
Yeah, they're no longer with us.
Correct. Right, that was a water holding retention pond. I mean, these are not water holding.
Yeah, I don't know the whole thing, but it's, obviously it's a concern to the insurance company after looking at it. So we're gonna have to work on that, and I think maybe the airport, needs to call their insurance company and find out what they can do for us. Maybe insure the whole town and the airport. You have something already covered there, but what do you know about it?
I don't know anything about it.
Okay, that's something that we have to work on, the township, or we have to work together on, obviously, get this problem solved by 4/11.
Would it be, I'm sorry, could it be solved with the insurance as far as putting just a fence, a slight fence around there?
We'd have to ask.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have any idea. I don't know what they look at. First of all, I don't sell that kind of insurance. It's property and casualty insurance is what it is.
So that's town insurance, that's for all
The town owns the property.
right,
The
but that's not
airport-
just for the airport property, it's for all of the town's liability.
Liability.
Well, what do we have, Jeff, for specific insurance, a policy for the airport that stands aside and alone from the insurance that the town carries?
I mean, we insure, we have a $4,700 insurance policy.
Right, but that's
And that
exactly
covers the airport, that covers the equipment for the airport, the building for the airport, the T-hangar for the airport, and the airport in general.
liability also, or not?
Right.
How much liability, do you know, remember?
Offhand, I don't know.
You've got it, because remember, you sent it to me, so you've got it someplace.
Right.
I think you emailed it to me. Okay, we're gonna move on from this, but this is, something that we're gonna have to work on between the town and the airport.
You consider a risk assessment after the new changes, having a risk assessment done by an insurance company to see what the total issues are, so you know how to move forward with the potential.
I'm 100% open to anything, absolutely. In fact, I thought as a town board member, maybe you could head that up. I'm serious, I'm very serious. We'll have to talk about it next board
I'm
meeting.
not a town board member here tonight.
No, I understand,
I'm a concerned citizen.
I understand that. But now you know what's coming.
I'm not gonna be at the next meeting. I'm kidding.
Okay. Reports? Operations.
Anything, Jeff?
Just closing out the year, I've got a couple people that I'm chasing down for money. Our big snow removal project went well. We had some extra volunteers that helped. Mr. Rick Jelinek came out and helped with us. We probably have about, is he here? Yes.
Yeah.
We probably have about 25, 30 hours of snow removal just on the runway, and then whatever you and Rick and others did for the taxiway, so that was a big project.
Oh, yeah, I did that over a long one.
Does that put us needing fuel quicker than we
And just
anticipated?
filled, yes, we went through 3/8 of a tank in that last snowfall, and I just got it filled again today.
Thank you.
So we're all topped off, truck, everything's all topped off. I was talking to, Al Davis, and we were just kinda talking about things in general, and he asked about, I guess a couple of years ago, we were sent a letter saying that there's some trees on the northwest end of the runway, that need to be taken down, and, we haven't done anything about that, so we'll have to do that, that's probably a.
I have a chainsaw.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about compliance, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about, because I knew nothing had been done. And I was only vaguely familiar with that because, your predecessor didn't say much about it to us ever.
Okay.
But I vaguely knew about it, and I looked at the end down there, last time I was out flying, which wasn't that long ago, and I said, these trees haven't been cut yet, and they are kinda close to the runway.
Yeah.
Now, to be compliant, do you know what we have to do for that end of the runway? But how far out though? How wide?
I've got a drawing and stuff.
Okay.
I mean, it's an approach zone, so it's at a certain angle and a certain,
Are there a lot of trees to cut?
I don't think there's well, I don't know, I mean, I have a picture overall, I don't know how many
Okay.
trees, I'm guessing it's a fair number of trees.
And so we're not in compliance with that right now. Anything else with compliance that we're on the edge of or anything?
No,
Okay, so we're doing pretty good as far as compliance goes with everything else.
so we won't be inspected again until 25, it's a 3-year.
Right, 3-year thing on trees, yeah.
Right, and, so he'll come back out and I don't want him to see the trees there.
Yeah.
Did they survey for a gradient?
Yeah, they gave me a 20-to-1
Yeah,
gradient
Okay.
and a cone,
excellent.
and, so we should be able to,
Those look like locusts to me and they grow pretty fast.
so I'm sure we'll
So
probably.
is this right on the fence line down there? It must be.
There's one in the center of the fence line, but there's also a couple of others that infringe on the angular approach to the runway.
That was
In the
something.
spring, I guess, before the leaves come in.
Probably should get them taken care of before our liability runs out.
Well, that's about right for,
Agree.
clubs, airport clubs. Rick? Oh,
Anything
Jill,
you-
you're. How are you?
All right,
I saw
I
you.
have nothing to report on it,
Yeah.
been pretty quiet,
Yeah, because there's been no meetings.
yeah.
When is your next meeting, Dan?
It'll be next month here, whatever the second Tuesday is.
February? Okay.
It's on a Tuesday?
Thursday,
Huh?
second Thursday.
Okay, Thursday, second Thursday, right?
Is that Tuesday?
We know what you meant.
We all heard you.
Financials.
So what would you like to know?
Well, I would assume what's the balance of the checkbook first.
Balance of the checkbook is roughly 30,000. And I've got people starting to pay their next year's leases and rents, so that stuff is starting to come in. I haven't sent out any invoices yet, but people are starting to send their checks in.
Are they sending it, did we up the rate for 2024? Are they sending the right amounts in?
That's two separate things, I think, Lou.
You're talking about you're talking about for lease?
For lease.
You're talking about for lease rent or T-hanger rent?
It's mainly T-hanger rent.
Oh, I see, okay, all right.
And we haven't adjusted the rates on the T-hangers or adjusted the rates on the land leases. I don't know if that's a commission discussion or it's.
Yeah,
Doesn't it usually come up, like June or something like that? Because the billings don't go out till midsummer, right?
Correct, but if there's gonna be a rate increase, that should happen.
Right, when you do it before that, but not.
let's remember to put that on the agenda for next
month?
next regular meeting,
Yeah, okay.
or next month.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any unexpected breakdowns or anything?
No, not, I mean, there's small things, and we've had to buy a couple stabilizer bars for the tractor, $500. Everything else is pretty standard.
Next is the airport manager. Keep talking.
Can I ask,
What-
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
On the financials, do the bills, like we got on the town board, do the bills have to be approved by the commission every month?
No, we have a blanket policy, and I forget the amounts, it's, regular bills can be paid by the airport manager, and we did set a limit, I don't
I
have.
think it was 1,500.
1,500, I believe it was. At that point, they need to be, co-signed.
Okay. I just wasn't sure how it operated.
I mean, in the future, do you want to know income coming in, payments going out, or?
Yes, that would be a good idea.
Okay.
It would, that's what the town does, I think that's ideal for this too. It won't take much, but
Right, I mean,
for the airport to go through a few things. No, it's a very good idea.
What about delinquencies?
Huh?
Delinquencies? Do you want a report of that?
Well, I would assume that delinquencies you report on that.
Right, we've got two people that are delinquent in both their land lease and their stormwater. And then we've got another person who's just waiting for the weather to improve to pay up. Other than that, we're good.
So right now, you're comfortable with that, you're gonna give it 30 days and
It's gotta warm
you
up to
think
write
it
a
should
check.
be done, or what?
I think, yes. I'm a little concerned, I mean, I'm not familiar with the two people that haven't paid. I'm just hoping they're not taking the same path as, it's been in the past, not by them, but, so, I'll wait, I mean, I've sent out.
What does that mean, taking the same path?
We had a multiple hangar owner who didn't think that the stormwater was something that, there was some objection to that, and so we had to kind of attorney up, I guess, and try to persuade that to get paid.
Does the commission have policies on late payment and at what point it becomes an eviction?
I don't know that we wanted,
No, I'm not
Go
saying you
there,
wanna
but-
do that, I'm just saying, is there a policy?
We have discussed it, it's never gotten to specific dates. Regarding specific individuals, we had had discussions and had taken, some legal action with the.
So
a
it's
letter of
basically a
the
case by case
purchase, yeah.
situation.
Did that person pay up, by the way, I think?
they paid up for
Yeah,
this
so
year.
it's been, so having two outstanding right now is not out of the typical range.
No, I don't think it's not a widespread issue.
But if it ever came to a point where eviction was considered, having a policy would protect the board commission from a legal standpoint.
I think we actually have that in our rules.
Okay.
And I don't have a copy of the rules here. The issue we have is, the only thing that the airport owns is the land underneath the hangars, so when you're going into an eviction status, you're really taking over the property or seizing it, so it can get a little messy and probably expensive. But we'd rather use a soft glove, I think, as much as we can.
Up to a point,
Up to a point.
because you don't wanna set a precedent for others
Absolutely
with
not.
hanger
No,
over.
there's no free rent here.
Okay,
So,
just curious.
should we, look at the policy and have it for all of us at the next
Yeah,
meeting?
let's do policy next meeting. Actually, it's probably a good time to bring up the, and just share the airport rules that we have. That were worked on maybe 5 years ago.
Wasn't there something in the lease? I mean, I haven't read my lease for probably 10 years, but
There is
I
something.
thought
You
you
have
had
all the
something in
lease
the
on, but-
lease.
What I think we should do with this is table that for now, but let's put it on the agenda for next.
So we can
Month.
discuss it, and
Right.
have it under the.
Yeah,
agenda.
and if we get it on the agenda soon enough, we can try to dig up some of our old records and things.
All right.
Because we're getting into too much of this, well, I don't have it with me, I'm wasting a lot of time, so.
How many months do you usually go by?
How many months?
Months do you let it roll, or let it slide?
I mean, it's only 1 month past or
Well,
15 days past. I mean, we send out the bills in June, and we're expecting them to, I mean, everybody's kind of paying in the rears, which, you know, I'm not sure that we should do that, or should we pay it upfront?
well, then, put that, then I would suggest. you put
That was just.
Yeah, we can discuss it.
Right, that we'll have to look at the lease and see what the actual language is.
Only thing I'm gonna mention on that 550, I thought it was a little low on the oil, pump oil.
Over the,
Raising and lowering, it was a little weak, wasn't it, Rick? Well, by God, it was when I was driving it. Don't just change for you.
This is a big truck you're driving, not that little toy you run around with, no? This is a 550, not a 250.
But anyway, I thought I got the same, Western. It seemed like it was a little weak. It was-
I didn't notice it when I was using it. I mean, I can take a look.
Well, there was a lot of heavy snow hanging on the front of it too. It was wet as it was.
It's a big truck. With heavy snow on it.
Okay.
It was cold.
Oh. Okay. On there. Old business, number 1, update 6 new hangar projects.
I had a conversation today via phone with Sam Lee from state VOA. He asked two things. One, he asked who was the current contact for the T-hanger project. I told him that for now he could speak with me, but we were having an election tonight, and that might change.
What's his last name?
That's Sam Lee.
Lee.
So the bids are, so this is just, these are rough notes that I made. It was just only an hour or two ago. The bids are out, and he called because he had a concern that the bids would not be guaranteed for much longer, because this was typically the time of the year where steel prices were increased, if they're going to be increased. He didn't have any specific knowledge on what was to happen. Current bid is there was $1,134,000. Of that, the sponsor funds could be up to $109,000. There's another bill fund of $497 available that would increase that amount to a lot. I explained to.
Can you stop there? What do you mean by that?
Right now, the town and/or airport could get a bill for $109,000.
Right.
Now, that will never happen.
Right.
And I explained to Sam that if there were any actual outflow of direct either airport funds or town funds, in my opinion, that would not pass. And he said he absolutely knows that. He said, you might get a bill for $109,000, but do not pay it. They have plenty of money in other funds, that's the TAP funds, or IAP funds, from the land that will easily make the net expenditure from the airport and or township zero. I asked him if he would mind coming and doing a presentation to either the airport commissioner or town board or a joint meeting to reassure people that might be a little concerned about that amount as to how the funds will actually flow. He is putting together a program along with one of his colleagues, and we'll be happy to do that.
I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah,
For
I think so
the
too.
board and the commission.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's all he had.
So they are trying to go forward with the 6 T-hangers then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Go
again,
Now, I asked him also, and you know, there's been some discussion within here as to whether this needs to go to the electoral. And I'm not sure we have a clear answer on that. Sam thought that by state law, an informational meeting was necessary, which had been done, I believe, a couple of years ago.
it was before my day. Somebody
No.
remember that out in the crowd?
It was done for the first T-hanger project.
Was not done for the second?
No, there should have been one for the
I
second
think
one
there was
also.
one.
I
And
think
that-
there
because
was
that
a,
was part of the stormwater project, and the 6 T-hanger was all done at the same time.
except there were no dollars assigned to that project.
There was an estimate given during that vote,
What was that?
the 1.2.
Hmm.
So they
I
had,
don't remember that part.
So my question is, if there are no funds from airport or town, does that negate any necessity of a vote?
I think the WTA should chime in on that, because I think anytime you're obligating the town electorate, which you are when you have to assign sponsor fees.
But there will be no sponsor.
Right,
fees.
but it's in conjunction with that project, which is on town land. So I would say check with the WTA, the Wisconsin Towns Association, and get an opinion from their attorney.
I'll do that.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
Lou, I don't think that the electorate has to vote again because the BOA is paying for it. They're the ones that have to approve the bids, not the electorate.
Well,
They can check on that.
just like, if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't around Little Prairie Road, and, no, they borrowed the money for that, that's right. So,
I think it was voted at that time, I mean, the project was conceived by Strand, it was voted on, they had an estimate of what the dollar amount was, and the vote passed, and I don't think the BOA is saying that it doesn't need to be voted upon again, because it was.
That was San Luis' opinion,
Right,
and you've gotten the same information.
right.
okay, I will check with the WTA and then most likely our attorney too.
You might wanna find the records from that meeting as well, the minutes, just to have.
I saw the records, which I haven't looked at since right before Dave resigned. But again, the last thing that Dave said is he thought that it had to go to the electorate, that's what he told at that time. Now, this is all new stuff to me too, so I'll check with the WTA and most likely our attorney. All done there?
Let's see, yes.
Number 2, update on commission vote to delete and stop the fence project. What is there to update on that? It stopped.
I just leave some of these things on there so that we have a placeholder in case something comes up.
Okay.
So it's just a kind of, so you'll see most of these things just continue until they're.
So the fencing that was gonna go on out there, is not happening.
That would be on the south end, behind down a ways from Helen Dunsh's old place.
Okay, I was just curious, hadn't heard an update on that.
Have you heard anything on that, Jeff?
I mean, we voted it.
Well, I understand that, but we don't know for sure that somebody's not gonna come in and start putting in fence.
They won't do it tomorrow, I guarantee that.
Yes.
And,
But that is true, he's got legitimate
exactly, has
concern.
anybody told the contractor?
Yeah, that's what I would
Oh,
be
yeah.
concerned about.
Did you tell the contractor?
Yes,
Oh.
I talked to them right after the vote was taken, because the fence was due to start.
The next day or
The
something.
next day. So I called them immediately after the vote was taken to cancel it and notify them that
Were there any penalty charges for canceling?
there wasn't, and I'm surprised there wasn't.
Who was building it?
It was through Strand, but it was, I don't recall the name of the fence company. But,
Is there any increase in liability risk going back to the insurance coverage, by not having the fence?
It was about 200 or 300 feet, and there was really no security reason for it ever. And it was just one of those things that got kind of spun out of control.
they were just trying to eliminate traffic on that end of the,
So it wasn't around any of these retention areas
No,
to
no,
keep kids
It's
out
on the
of?
opposite side of the road.
Gotcha, okay, all right, thanks.
Number 3, update on the chain of events leading to stormwater excavations not approved by the commission.
That again is a placeholder on here so that we can continue to report on information that we received from requests. So far, I've got nothing to report on that.
Okay, I'm just asking because the board wants somebody from here, not me, to come to the next meeting and go through that.
Okay,
Okay.
you bet.
This might be my last order of business right here. New business. Number 1, election of airport commission officers. Well, I don't think there's officers, there's one officer, right, the chairperson?
I thought secretary was an officer too, aren't they?
yes.
Well, okay, to be voted on, he's already the secretary.
But you can vote me out too.
I didn't really
That can work both ways.
So, how is this gonna be done with?
With that, I think I'll make a nomination. I would very much love to see Al Boren as the airport commissioner, or airport chairperson here. I think Al brings not only a wealth of aviation knowledge to the table, but he's a long-term local resident and has some very good contacts that I think could be very useful to us within the community for some of the things we're looking to move forward on the airport. So with that, I would like to make a motion to elect Mr. Alan Bory as the Airport Commission chairperson.
Okay, any further discussion on that?
Need a second first.
I understand. I'm just about ready to turn this over,
You don't wanna relinquish your control there, okay?
as soon as possible. Anyway, any further discussion on that? Any other nominations? Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor of Al Bory becoming the chairperson for the Airport Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Continue on, Al.
Does he get the gavel?
I didn't even start the meeting with him, we'll pass it on to the Yeah.
We wanted to catch you up by surprise.
Chairman, sir, can I make a comment?
No.
I think we've got
Of course.
Congratulations. And I wanna recognize 88 Charlies, because we were out here plowing snow and they brought us food. That's all I wanna say. I just wanna make sure that's known, that 88 Charlies is taking care of us. Without asking, they come out and, this is for you and your partner.
Well, you came back to see me when I was plowing back here, how come you didn't bring me anything?
It was
You
gone.
didn't look hungry.
That was,
No, there was some friction years ago with the 88 Charlies and everybody. I just wanna know that that's softening tons.
Great.
And he ate it all.
I don't think so. You can ask the other person. I think that's something.
Okay, of course, I guess next order of business is to.
Wait a minute, Al, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? So I don't know who you are, really, other than I met you at one other meeting.
I'm the short fat guy sitting at the end.
I'm the tall skinny guy, just that, right?
No, I've
Participated.
been out here for many years. I haven't been out here a lot lately, okay? Started way back. I got my pilot's license here in '79.
Here, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was, now that you mention it. My father and I both kind of grew up hanging out at the airport as a kid. And, let's see, I was president of the Comm Flying Club for 6 years. And I was one of the founders of 88 Charlies. And I got a Luscombe and a Smith mini plane and a couple of hangars on.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a thumbnail sketch.
All right, well, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Well, I still can remember your dad out here. That's a long time ago.
I remember your dad on there. We want to thank Chris Lathrop for his work on the commission for these years. And I think he mentioned he still wants to mow some grass.
He's still helping. He put in.
I mean, he was out there on the runway.
Chris has always been kind of a tireless volunteer.
Yeah.
And I really hope that he can stay around and mow more lawn and plow more snow.
He started at 6 o'clock in the morning plowing with a tractor.
Yeah.
And he wanted to leave at 11, make sure he got the bagger game. I think he still did one or two of them still here. I tried to relieve him at 11:30 and they all stay out there a little longer. So yes, I was pleased that he was out there helping.
Yeah, he's a good man. We want to welcome Cal Tomitsu to the commission here.
Let me tell a little bit about myself.
Yeah.
If you would, please, Cal.
So, I can't go way back, born in '61, graduated high school in '79, always wanted to fly, didn't know how I'd get there, got to college, read books, and ran into Lieutenant Colonel Donald G. Van Meter, a Lieutenant Colonel, flew Mohawks in Vietnam. And he said, Cal, here's your flight physical, here's your fast test, flight aptitude class A test. And then I went out and found a unit in Waukesha that would send me to flight school. That was back in 82, 83. So it's a process, and I think I dropped out of college. I was a math major. I was a second lieutenant. I was enlisted. I started out enlisted and worked my way up to sergeant. And so I'm kind of like a Mustang officer. And went to flight school in 84, graduated April 15th of 85. And then I started, I came out of flight school with a commercial instrument, and I went back to college. I started flying airplanes out of Fort Atkinson. It was a little grass strip, maybe 1,500 feet. And James P. Campbell, the fifth, and he was a great instructor pilot, 6,000 hours of dual single engine land. He sold me in 3 days and 3 hours in an airplane, so I picked up pretty quick. And then I moved on, I got my instrument and my commercial and my airline transport, my multi-engine. I don't know the sequence of events. Flew parachutes out of Math Air in East Troy, and then flew with the Army for many, many years. And then I think it was 1990, I got a berth as a co-pilot for Baxter Healthcare. I had 3 jobs. Midway Airlines 1, the first Midway airline. Freight runners out of Milwaukee, single engine, night freight, single pilot. And then Baxter as a co-pilot. And I choose Baxter because it paid the most of the 3. So then I stayed there for probably 10 years and worked my way up to captain. We flew Falcon 50s and Falcon 900s, which are 3-engine jets, and we go all over the world. And then I read this article about, just, hey, there's people who, you get your 3% raise if you stay, but if you jump to another company, you could jump 20, 30%. So it's all about the money. I made a $50,000 pay raise. I left Baxter and went to Johnson Wax. And I've been there ever since, 23 years now. And I'm a captain for them. I was their safety officer. I was safety officer for the Army. I'm Army safety qualified. I went to the formal school and did a lot of safety background. 14,000 hours, no accidents. Knock on wood, right? And we fly all over the world, and here I am. And then I got a couple calls, and I remember the day I walked through here, and they started digging up holes here. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And they got me kind of in the game here, and I thought, you know what, it's time to pay back. You get so from an organization, you want to get back to it. And I remember when Myra had just an outhouse across the street, and we flew out of here, and I flew out of here a lot with the Flying Hawks. The Flying Hawks got in trouble, and they needed people on that board, and it was going down and south and out. So I joined the board, looked at the success situation, and we corrected all the problems, and Flying Hawks is still here today. And I'm really happy that it's going in a positive direction, and it's a part of the Myra Airport. And my name's even on that little I can't remember we asked for money. There was like $250 plus. They don't tell you how much, but I said no problem. Give money, but I don't want to tell you what I gave. But it's $250 or more. Sometimes you give more than what they ask. And so I really look forward to helping out here and correcting some of the problems and moving forward and trying to make this the best grass airport I've ever flown out of. So that's my intention.
Very nice, well, thanks a lot.
What about the
Yeah, went to combat for a year.
What about the Blackhawks?
Yeah, okay, so people want to know about that. So in the military, I started out in the Hughes 500, and then I went to not a Hughes 500, TH-55, which is a Hughes 300. Then I went to a UH-1 Huey, which is the Vietnam helicopter. Flew that for over 1,000 hours plus. And then went into a Jet Ranger, which is a single pilot airplane, smaller observatory, you call in fire and artillery. Did that for about 500 hours. And then eventually went back to the Huey, and I was out of West Bend, and then I just knew we were in Katrina. Katrina, I don't know if you're familiar with Katrina, the dike broke and we were medevac, and we went down there, we were pulling people off with hoists. So we were pulling people off on roofs and all sorts of different things and saving lives and making things happen. And then, I guess the rumor was that a general saw us and we were really good. Wisconsin has some really good aviators, they really do. I don't know why, but Wisconsin has really good pilots and good aviators. And so the general saw us, says, what do these guys find huge? We need to get them some Blackhawks and get them in the game, meaning the real war. And so a year or two later, we got Blackhawks, and next you know, we went into combat. In 2010, I went into combat, I went into Iraq, and I served as a medevac pilot in Iraq for about a year. I can't tell you where it was or what I did, because it's all confidential, but I could probably tell you, we did 28 combat missions, and everybody lived, so that's about it. Anything else?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gullah was very instrumental in years ago, we had a Black Hawk come in for pancake breakfast. He was very instrumental in getting that job done.
Yeah.
He didn't actually fly it, but he set it all up with us. So he was always